Hello YouTube, this is Reed with ENR Collectors, making our second YouTube video. So Eric was the one who did our CBCS unboxing. I thought I'd make one showing some of my books. Eric's in Colorado, I'm in Kansas right now, finishing up school. Got one more semester left to get my master's degree and really excited. So I thought I'd show off some of the books I have here with me in Kansas. Most of mine are back in Colorado. Hopefully, when I get back to Colorado, I'll show a few more of my books that I have there. But just to kind of introduce us a little bit, we are both, Eric and I, we're both fairly new to comic book collecting. I'd say we probably, our official start would be back in 2015 when Marvel started, or retook the Star Wars comic books and started publishing those under Marvel. That's where I kind of start my comic book collection, is with Star Wars #1. But, it's been a great 2 years, coming up on 2 years. And our collections have grown a lot, and we've learned a lot, so we may do a couple videos talking about various things we've learned over that time, because there have definitely been a lot of lessons on how best to collect comic books and what we like, what we don't like. So anyway, I'll just do a little comic haul video here for our second video. It's about all I can do so far. It's kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different books here. A bunch of Star Wars books. Like I said, my brother and I, we really like Star Wars. Even our oldest brother, who probably won't make any videos with us, he doesn't really collect comic books, so. But, we're all, my whole family is really big into Star Wars. You can tell from my sweatshirt. So, there's a lot of Star Wars books in here, but there's also a couple others. Like I said, what I like has, definitely been honed over the last 2 years. So, I'll start with a couple books I picked up recently from my local comic shop. They're doing a 50% off sale of all their back issues to make room for some of their Christmas stock. So these are some that I picked up. If you watch the CBCS unboxing, one of my books was a lenticular Penguin cover. I really like the Penguin. He's one of my favorite comic book villains. I know a lot of people don't necessarily care about the Penguin. They go for, the Joker and all that. But I really like the Penguin. So I found this. I think I only paid $1 for it. But, it's kind of cool. It's a Penguin cover. It's Showcase 94. I had never seen it before, but since I really like the Penguin, I picked that up. I read it. It's got a Penguin story. It's got an Arsenal story, and then a Terrasmith story in there too. But I only got for the Penguin because I really like the Penguin. So got that for really cheap. So this one, this is a series that I'm actually trying out right now. Actually reading it. I saw this. I thought, this is pretty cool. I looked into the character a little bit more, and I was like, this character seems pretty cool. It's a really old character that actually influenced the creation of Batman a long time ago. So I thought this was really cool, but it's kind of the revamped series of this character by Dynamite. It's The Shadow, #1. Like I said, it's a really cool character. I like the story so far. I've only read the first 2 issues. I think the 3rd issue just came out, but I haven't picked it up yet. This is a Tyler Kirkham cover. I really like Tyler Kirkham. I think I have 1 or 2 books by him. But I also have the Neal Adams cover for the Shadow #1, but I sent that back to Colorado, so I don't have it with me. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool character. Dynamite and DC are doing a crossover between Batman and the Shadow right now. It's also a cool story, so check it out. It's a really cool cover too. The Neal Adams cover is really, really nice as well. So the next two, like I said, there's been a lot of lessons we've learned since starting. So I have collected all of Marvel's new Star Wars books as they come out. So every mini-series, every ongoing series, if it's Star Wars and Marvel, I pick it up. And usually for #1s, I get a whole bunch of variants. But I realized that I've only gotten variants for #1s. And variants, if you don't know, are more collectible. They're usually more rare, usually worth more, sometimes. So I figured, at some point in time, I'm going to want to go back and reread these series. But I don't want to read some of my variant covers and, risk damaging them in case I want to get them graded eventually. So I've been looking for a lot of, just really cheap #1 issues of the various Star Wars series, since I only have variants, for reading copies. So these are actually variants, but they were really cheap. And they're actually my second of these particular variants. So I'm not worried about reading one and possibly, damaging it. And I can keep one nice and neat. So the first one is Poe Dameron #1. Kind of cool. Whoops. Kind of a cool cover. This is the Hastings variant. Where are there? Yep, Hastings. Hastings went out of business about a year ago. So I was actually hoping and anticipating that Hastings covers would go up because I already had this variant cover that I got at Hastings when it came out. But, this was super cheap. I only got it for $2. So apparently it's not worth all that much. But, this will be my reading copy for Poe Dameron #1. As far as the series goes, of all of Marvel's new Star Wars books, Poe Dameron's probably at the bottom of my list if I had to rank them. I wasn't a big fan of Poe in The Force Awakens. I don't know, the character itself didn't really grab me, so but it's Star Wars, so I got it. The next reading copy I got was Obi-Wan and Anakin. Again, this is the Hastings variant, but I only got this for $1. For both the Poe and this one, I could not find the regular A cover #1 for these series. I only found these variant covers. So yes, they are variants, but they're not necessarily worth more. They're super cheap, so I'm okay with them as my reading copy. That can get roughed up a little bit more. So the next one, I don't plan on reading. I really just got it for the cover. I've started to learn different artists and different kind of their styles and what I like as far as comic book artists. So I'm really starting to, narrow in on my favorite artists so I can collect their stuff. So in my top 3 artists is Marco Checchetto. I believe that's how you say his name. I wasn't sure how you pronounced his name, so I tried looking it up, and the best I could really find was a video of a con panel he did, and he was introduced as Marco Checchetto, so that's how I'm pronouncing it. But I really like Marco Checchetto. He's done several of the Star Wars series, including this Obi-Wan and Anakin. He didn't do the cover, but he did the interior work for this whole run. So I really like Marco Checchetto. So I found this book, and it was half off at my LCS, so I picked it up. it is Punisher, the Platoon, Marco Cacchetto variant. Look at that. Isn't that great? I really like his colors. I don't know. It's just, he's really, there's a lot of details and the shading and everything like that. I just really like Marco Cacchetto. So when I can, I like to pick up his, if he does any variant covers or even regular covers, even if I'm not really reading the book, if I really like the cover, which is most of the time with Marco Cacchetto, I'll pick it up. So this is a really cool cover. Let's see, another one of my favorite artists is Artgerm. So this is the Supergirl number 14 Artgerm variant. I've seen this on a lot of the YouTube comic channels. He's done several of these Supergirl covers. Eric, my brother, who did the other video, he discovered Artgerm before me, got a couple of Artgerm books. I saw those. I really liked them, so I got some of my own. So I'm really trying to grow my Artgerm collection. I mean, there's not much that he's done that I haven't liked. So moving on with my favorite artist is John Tyler Christopher. If you don't know his name, you'll probably have seen what he does. He does any of the action figure variant covers for comic books out there. He's been doing a ton of the action figure variants for the Star Wars books with Marvel. For the main Star Wars, excuse me, the main Star Wars title, he's done one action figure at least for every issue of the main Star Wars title. So I think issue 38 just came out. So he's done, at least 38 action figure variants for the main Star Wars title. He did the last few of the 2015 Darth Vader run, some action figure variants for those. He's done some of the other number ones for the limited series and such. But he's also done some exclusives. He has a website that he sells exclusives on, and he does some exclusives for retailers for specific stores. So you have to go to that store to get whichever cover. So I really like his action figure variants. I really like the look of the old Kenner Star Wars action figures, but I don't have any. So I figured kind of a good little substitute would be the action figure variants, which are done in the style of, the old Kenner action figures. I don't know, I just really like these covers. They're usually not worth all that much. They don't cost all that much. So this is just, this isn't an exclusive or anything. It's just the action figure variant for Star Wars 37. So continuing on with my collection, I've got all of, or not all, but most of his action figure variants that he's done, including one of the rarer of the action figure variants, which is coming up here soon. But most of these covers that I have are back in Colorado. I very well might do a video once I get back to Colorado of just the Star Wars action figure variants, because I got, like I said, most of them. So the only holes I have in my collection of these are some of his exclusives to his website or to certain stores that I missed and wasn't able to pick up when they came out that I'm on the hunt for. So the next couple books I picked up at Lawrence Comic Con here in Lawrence, Kansas. I didn't pick up all of that many, but one of them cost a lot, so that's why I didn't pick up so many. The first one is, it's a really cheap key issue. I really want to try to get more key issues in my collection. I don't really have all that many. So I found this one. It was pretty cheap, so I picked it up. It's Batman 358. This is the first full appearance of Killer Croc. Now, I'm not necessarily a huge Killer Croc fan. I like almost all of Batman's villains. But, it's a really cheap key issue. I guess technically his first appearance is Batman 357 before this one, where he shows up at the end, but this is his first full appearance. And then I also have, back in Colorado, Batman 359, which is Killer Croc's first cover. So I may show that a little bit later on. So, they're really cheap key issues to get. So, and then I'm going to finish off with a couple more Star Wars books. So this is another one I got at Lawrence Comic Con. This is a Star Wars #1 Dallas Fan Expo variant. Look at that. So this is just really cool. I guess it's an exclusive to Dallas Fan Expo. I've never been to Dallas, so I'd never seen this cover before, but one of the booths at the con had this, for a pretty good price. Star Wars #1 sold upwards of 1 million copies, which for comic books is huge, and a lot of that was variants. There are so many variants for Star Wars #1, and I have a good chunk of them, or a fair amount, but I just saw this. It was really cool. It's really classic. I don't know who does the cover for this, so I'm sorry I can't give you more. I might look it up later and let you guys know. Another Star Wars #1 variant cover. Is cheap. I like it. It's the Loot Crate variant for Star Wars #1. As you can see, only $5. So it was cheap. Star Wars variant, I really like it. If you look on, it's really hard to tell, but on these crates here, there's it's the Star Wars alphabet. I think it's called Aurebesh, and it spells out Loot Crate on these crates. So it's kind of a neat little cover. So this is kind of my big book. One of the more expensive books that I own. It's an action figure variant like that one I just showed not too long ago. This was John Tyler Christopher's first exclusive, his JohnTylerChristopher.com exclusive that he did for the Star Wars books. So this one goes for a lot, and it's graded too. So it's the Star Wars #4. It's graded 9.8. It's the Boba Fett action figure variant. This is one of the more expensive books. The other one, which is worth about as much as this one, is Star Wars #2, Han Solo action figure variant. I have that as well. Also cost me a pretty penny to get that one. But that's back in Colorado, so I may show that later. But I was really happy to see this. This was at the booth of my local comic shop here in Lawrence, and I know the owner. He was there working the booth, so he gave me a really good price on this. So I just had to get it. If you couldn't tell from our first video, our CBCS unboxing, Eric and I are, I would say, CBCS purists. We like to stick with CBCS. All of our graded books are with CBCS, except for this one. This is my first CGC book. So yeah, that's not that I necessarily have anything against CGC. I'm just really OCD about my collection, and I'd really prefer having them all be the same. But I'm not gonna go through the trouble of just sending this in if it's already graded to CBCS just to get the CBCS label. But it's really nice. It's probably one of the most expensive of these action figure variants, but it's not the most expensive. I have most of those action figure variants. The ones I'm missing are some of the, like I said, some of the exclusives. And most of them, I think I'm missing like 8 of the action figure variants he's done. Most of them are attainable. They're all cheaper than this one was, except for one of them, which might end up being the only hole I have in that collection, which really annoys me. But it's the Star Wars #1 black and white Luke Skywalker action figure variant. I believe it was a C2E2 exclusive. The print run is believed to be around 500. It's really, really rare. I looked it up on eBay, and the cheapest one I could find was $1,000, which is a lot of money I don't have to spend right now, and probably won't for a really long time. So that's kind of my big holy grail to really complete my collection of all of the action figure variants, which I really like. So anyway, that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're a brand new channel, so we're looking for subscribers. So if you see this, think about subscribing. If we actually get subscribers, we'll, probably for sure put out more videos with what we have and what we've learned and all that. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching.